Hey everyone, welcome back to the Archangel 15. Coming at you with a follow-up to my earlier weekly report. To be honest with you, I get so much stuff written down that if I don't do a report, that I'd have too much for the next weeks to come. I told you before that there may be weeks that go by that I don't do any reports at all, or some that I do several. It depends on if I'm inspired to speak or not, or if I feel compelled to bring you information. I want to start off with a disclaimer, as always. By watching this presentation, you agree not to take legal action against me in any way, shape, or form. If you do not like what I'm saying, please discontinue watching immediately. This being said, sometimes I like to throw in just various stuff. Like this is just kind of like spontaneous, out of kilter. I've said before, I really, really am enjoying these, and I know that my views are gamed already, so I'm not doing this just to hear myself talk or whatever. In general, my channel, I really believe, helps me keep my mind moving as well. So, regardless if anybody watches it at all, it's good for neural stimulation and so forth. So, I mentioned in the past for years and years on this channel about how I believe Solomon is a fraud, just an outright fraud. And I've basically found information. I haven't had any information on to back this up for a long time, but now I'm reading Helena Blavatsky, The Secret Doctrine, Cosmogenesis, and it says right in here basically that she believes that that the temple was a fraud and that Solomon was a fraud, and I feel very deep spiritual connections to almost every significant character of the Bible, but Solomon I feel nothing. It's very interesting. Also John from Patmos, John the Revelator, I think that there's either something missing or there's a big unconclusive aspect of Revelation, to be honest with you, or something was added in, maybe, I don't know. But maybe it was done this, had to be this way on purpose. You couldn't give the whole piece of the puzzle away, or I guess it would ruin faith, maybe. But so she says right in there that basically it was a confabulation, and I concur with this 100%. While on that topic, there's other things I think in the news and this history that they lied about. Armenian genocide, I really don't want to question a whole bunch of people dying needlessly, but from what I've gathered, I was in Armenia. A lot of people there they don't like Armenians. I kind of see it why. I'm not going to get into it, but further, a lot of their issue is there's too much mixing. It's in Iran is at their south, and then it's the Russians, Iranians, Persians, all kinds of people mixed together, Jewish people as well. But I believe, if they had their entire country holocausted, how is it possible that they didn't lose their land altogether? I find it to be not possible. They would have lost their land, of course. I've asked people this. I haven't really gotten any answers that satisfy my needs for this. There's interesting, major, amazing history there. Noah's Ark supposedly was found on the border of Turkey and Armenia there, Mount Ararat. And I believe Noah's Ark was actually a metaphoric hyperbole for a UFO. We all know it's probably not possible that maybe they really built a boat, but it was raptured or something. I believe that there's some deeper esoteric aspect of physics that come into the whole thing, tie it all together, and actually paint a plausible scenario of how this actually really happened. I can tell you that right now there's a lot of crap going down, signs in the heaven everywhere, sun arcing up, all kinds of crazy stuff. I'll get up feeling really, really, really tense and nervous about something, and I'm usually always right about my feelings. Given what I'm basically pushing a spiritual war against the Rothschilds, the Bushes, the Prescotts, the Walkers, the Herberts, all these clowns that are tied into these people. Like I said, we need to bring it to them, in prayer. That's how I end. Like I said, I stopped doing my perilous tides, red handkerchief at the end, and started doing a prayer, and I find that to be more impactful. I do cold cases from time to time on here. I believe that John Lennon was killed possibly by the Rothschilds and the United States military-industrial complex. I know you would say, well, how do you get the two of them together? To be honest with you, the Rothschilds have been playing both sides of every war for a very, very long time. That's just what they do. And they think that they're cool and they're slick and that nobody catches them, or that it's cool that they can't lose or something like that. But until Michael the Archangel and the Messiah and whatever shows up, like I said, then party's over, bad for business, no more fake wars, no more killing people needlessly, time for judgment. That being said, there's a place for population control and other things. And I'm willing to hear their side as well, but there's just certain things hedging against divinity is not acceptable in the eyes of God. On a side note with John Lennon, I feel like this amazing, amazing spiritual presence to him. I have a serious affinity for Asian women myself, and like I think that's was like the heart of why they offed him is like they like it was just too much that like the Nazis behind the scenes in America didn't want that. Like they didn't want to see the like young white kids intermixing with Asians or like pushing that agenda. Not even so much like other races, but specifically the Asians, because they knew that the Asians were genetically superior, and like they wanted to have a dumb race of people that were a race of dumbed down followers, sheep that are going to be herded. And anyhow, I believe. Okay, so I wanted to tell you, like I was in Cape May at this club in this basement, and there I had like the music was playing all the time, like out of nowhere. The band started playing Twist and Shout, and this random cup started dancing across the table. I mean, they probably have it on camera somewhere, but it was like insane, like an Ouija board. I mean, like there was like water underneath of it, so it was like capillary action or something, but it was just moving. It was insane, like it had a life of its own, came to life. Also, like I sit outside, my neighbors have probably seen this. I listen to Twist and Shout, and the part where they go there's like a real deep emphasis on the like hallelujah. I talked about linguistics, and the sun will start arcing up. It's like every time that part comes on. I talk greatly about my pride for Russia, my Russian Ukrainian roots, and like I've done a lot of it work for them. I'm gonna like tell you basically how it was broken down to me by my former doctor. This guy only takes cash, and like luckily I'm not sick, so I don't need to go there. I haven't been there in several years, but like this guy's a hardcore Russian, amazing doctor, by the way. And he said to me, he said that Putin, he said like a lot of people love him, but a lot of people don't like him there. And like Russia is such a big country with so many moving parts that like he's not the end game. Like there's people put in place to make sure that somebody like Putin is not going to throw the whole country away. And like essentially, like I hate to say it, but like I said in the last presentation that Russia got caught with their hand in their pants, and like they really did. Like Putin, I don't mean to be rude about it, but like he's an ass puppet, like in many ways. Like I'm gonna just show you some pictures here. Like, okay, so this is him and Bush at the May Day parade, and like the May Day parade is like a show of Soviet force. Like it's not some place that the United States president's supposed to be at. Like it's one thing to go to Russia and visit, but it's another thing to go to the May Day parade. I mean, that's like only like I couldn't get in there, and I'm pretty much like Russian military. Like I might be able to get in there now, but like it's like strict access. Like it's very, very big deal. You can see him again, like two fart buddies. You go Laura there. And you got the old general in the background, cheesing and grinning. And then like okay, so then like I guess another time here's him and Colin Powell. From what I've gathered, Colin Powell had a real serious affinity for Russian women. He'd have them lined up before he even came to Russia. This trip was not, from what I've gathered, this was not his only trip. He went there innumerable times, and like he was like chocolate love. And he, like I said, he'd had the girls lined up before he got there. That was Colin Powell. Anyhow, Slovenia, I believe, got wiped off the earth. Like you don't hear anybody talk about Slovenia anymore. Like I think like in that whole area of Serbia, Montenegro, like some serious stuff went down. I'm having like personal like I've talked about innumerable attempts in my life. Like recently, like my sister's car, like pretty much the only car that I really drive. Like I like go to pull the emergency brake, it didn't work, and like the brakes stopped. Like a week before we had the car for inspection, and like they're supposed to check the brakes. They didn't, I guess, whatever. They either didn't or wanted to sabotage me or something. 2 weeks before that, we had it at a dealership, like an actual dealership, and like when it's been around a long time, and like they should have, like both of these people should have called it, and like I believe that they were trying to set me up to either like to wreck or to like hit a kid or something. Like I really, all my heart, like it was a big deal. Like they kept the car overnight. Like there's probably people that came and inspected it, and like this is just added to my list of BS. Like I had like what I believe to be a dislocated shoulder, and like I've had X-rays that they like lied about. I've had doctors that like try to like say I don't know what I'm talking about, and like I'm in my bed and like I literally pop it into place, and like I know what I'm talking about. My shoulder was dislocated for a long time. And like it's like everybody just wants to work against me. Doctors, everybody. They think it's like cool because I step on their toes that they're gonna act like they got a bigger Johnson than me or something. Um, Anyhow, I mentioned I have a presentation on Amish conspiracy theory. Um, Please watch that Amish conspiracy. And like basically the Amish are fake, and they're like part of the Swiss banking cartel and like Google Corporation. And like basically like this whole thing, it's not being talked about with like the flooding that's not going to end until like California is underwater, and then it's probably going to have an earthquake. I mentioned a long time that I believe that like if you had like a tsunami or a massive amount of flooding on an already destabilized fault zone, I mean, water weighs 9 pounds a gallon. And I mean, like you're talking trillions and trillions of gallons of water here. I mean, it has to have an effect on some type of, like I said, compromised shelf. But like, I really believe that like Google is like being targeted by God. And like, oh, I better watch what I say. I've came out against Sergey Brin in the past, a fellow Russian. His mom worked for NASA. I think he was a fraud. I don't think he invented anything. I think there was like information from past worlds that like him and Bill Gates were allowed to bring forward. But I really believe, even worse, that like Google is like making databases of like basically like China is done with a social credit score. And like, like if you don't have a good social credit score, then you won't be able to get on an airplane, or you'll have to pay more to get on an airplane. They'll make it so you can't. And like they'll just basically like constrict you through like your whole entire footprint. And like you go to a library, you have to like put in your number like anywhere. Like they'll know it's you. Like it's your phone. It's your like you're logging on. And this is like a deeper conspiracy that I've had into the gun list. Like it's not even a secret that Google has lists of gun owners. And it's like I really believe that they're like in the movie Terminator, Skynet. They're like Skynet. And they need to be destroyed. And like nobody's talking about Silicon Valley being flooded like continuously by God and myself. Like I said, like I'm trying to basically get $57 billion out of these people so I can bring forward free energy ideas, move to 57th Ave, Billionaires Row in Manhattan, and have a good life for myself that I deserve, and say screw my family, and like make a precedent for all people with inheritance and other things. I could have sold out and sucked daddy off a long time ago. Not my style. I'd rather suffer. So I want to tell you about, okay, so like there's another epiphany I had is I was in Washington, D.C. one time, and I took the wrong metro stop, or like I wanted to stop too far, and I got off Eastern Market. And I like basically this was like a huge okay, so I knew at that point in time that like the way that I like what I need to do is somehow make it to like the east, and like basically like there's going to eventually be a new world order, and like there's going to be eventually a one world currency, and like it's going to, like I said, we already know it's the East versus the West, and like I said, like how are you going to beat the Rothschilds? You can beat them at their own game, and that's the only way we can do this essentially, and yeah, I had a picture of it in there. Like I said, I took a picture just for like sentimental value for the future. And but yeah, I need to, like I said, that's my goal, is to like make it to like Asia, unite Asia, which probably won't be that hard to do. And then, like I said, bring forth like the strongest economy and like a backed currency that basically like all the Saudis and all the Arab nations will not want to use the dollar anymore. And like it'll, then 30 some trillion dollars that we have will, be the nail in the coffin, along with other things, even though we do have a lot of valuable real estate in this country. Anyhow, like I said, if you look at the radar, like I've been seeing some really interesting images of like hydra, like they look like the radar images almost look like hydras or something, like real like interesting like alien stuff. And like Blavatsky kind of connects it all together between like human life and like biology, like microbiology, and like germs, and like just like like the human fertilization of an egg. Like it all ties together. And so I'm going to probably like I said, like I mentioned this whole thing. Like I said, like basically the problem is the Rothschilds. Like the Rothschilds have been funding the Russians and this and that. And like I can promise you, like while the Russians may sell their country under the bus to the West and like not have any problem with killing their good white men off and like basically allowing scumbags to like dictate things. I can tell you right now that China's not going to go for that. Like, you can do what you want to do in Russia. I've been saying for a long time now that China is the end game. And like I said, there's something in this world called honor. But like, I like another thing too. Like you have to get it straight. Like I basically ran United States military, where, with Gojo and Pumice. Like the presentations I've done, other things. So it's like they have to almost like pull this retaliation. Like we can't just sit here and let him do that to us. We have to, put some news feeds out of shooting some Russian planes down, because we know that his ex-girlfriend worked for the Sukhoi Corporation. He likes the Sukhoi. Like even though the American planes can't even do any Cobra maneuvers or improved Cobra or thrust vectoring, and the Russians were doing it in the 70s. And the missiles that come off the detonation systems, the air-to-air missiles, come off like taking 3 seconds to deploy. And like other things like I've like exposed. And like I said, that's really a lot what's going on. And the truth is, behind the scenes, I'm bigger than all of this. Like there's UFOs. I could probably take down anything, evade radar, all kinds of stuff. And I mentioned in the past that like they allowed UFOs to crash, so the United States would back engineer their technology, and that they like Chinese Hollow Earth people would essentially have them. Like that's how they would beat them, just through hacking them essentially. There's this major issue with Christianity right now. Like I said, like the church, there's no future in the Roman Catholic Church. Like all these people that pray to Jesus, I don't think they pray to the same Jesus. I think that there's like serious issues here that we need like a new formalized religion. And like my people in Russia, the Orthodox Church, are probably not going to like that. On a side note, like if you want to engage in shady dealings, then you're going to get shady genetics from me. If you want to be honorable, then we can deal honorably. And like there was totally some shady stuff that went on behind the scenes, and like they got caught. And they didn't know, like at that point I hadn't manifested to the level that I have now. Like I said, I'm like a rock star now, pretty much. And like the weather phenomenon, like I said, is insane, absolutely insane. Louisiana, Florida keep getting hit like almost every other day with storms. Nobody mentions flooding there. In the Northeast here, we don't even have any snow at the ski resorts. I mentioned, like, I wanted to say this, like, so I put it on record. Like, I mentioned about I want to take a ski trip. I may decide not to now. I may just try to save my money. Who knows what these people have in store for me. I want to get out of here. Everybody knows that. But if I was going to go, it would be like February 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. Probably Vermont, like northern Vermont. And I would like, you can just see, like, I bet you any money there'll be a snowstorm like a week or two before those dates. You see, we'll just wait and see. I mentioned the last presentation about like the deeper secrets of microchips and like the emerald color that they are, like this color. And there's like supposedly in past civilizations, I like used to watch all these YouTube videos like years ago, like before I knew all this stuff. There was like something called emerald, and like it was so deeply secretive that like if anybody even talked about it, they would be killed. And like I believe it has to do with like the Teal 369 series that I talked about, but possibly also something like this. It gets deeper into ether. It's like the secrets of the ether, essentially. And like I said, you put a spark through the green, it creates teal. You put spark through copper, creates teal. But like I said, like I just want to show these pictures again. And like, who do these people think they're fooling? I mean, is this like an effing joke or something? And like I mentioned before, there was this company, Alina Aeromacchi, the Italian aerospace company that funds both the Sukhoi Corporation and Lockheed Martin. I find it to be very interesting. But like, just look at I mean, does this look like two countries that are nemesis? Like, come on. I mean, like, is this an effing joke or something? Like on another, like, so like back in the Trump days, like this is just like some like I'm telling you this, like my own sources, like alchemy, psychic stuff. Like there was one time, like we really did it for the Trumps. Like it wasn't even Trump so much. Like one time, Don Jr. called the Russians and tried to act like a straight Don boss, like he was like telling them what to do. Like straight called the Russians and tried to tell them what to do, and like that, it didn't go over too well. And like they will never, like they wouldn't probably even care about Trump, but because Don Jr., like they will never, like I can tell you right now, he will never get anywhere near anything again. Like the Italians are serious issues behind the scenes, like I said, with the Roman Catholic Church, and like the, like they're just an unrelenting, unyielding, unwielding force that really needs to go away, for lack of better words. Like no disrespect to a lot of good Italians. Like it's like the Italians in this country that screw it up. And like the Italians are like it's just like the Germans in this country. And I have German heritage. I get very little respect for all that I've done, all the signs that I've shown. You'd think that people would be coming to me, like bowing down to me, like sir, like at least get a sir. Like you can just see people hate me. Like people are just so envious and jealous. Like I'll know that I crossed the barrier when I start getting the damn respect that I deserve. Another thing, so whales are washing up on the Jersey Shore. I didn't even do, like, they want to do an investigation on it, but like we're in the middle of, in my opinion, nuclear warfare, and the gamma doesn't sit too well with mammals and living beings, hence all the waterfowl and birds that passed away. They probably would have hid this, but the whale's too big to hide. Like, to be honest with you, like, I sincerely in my heart believe that. Like, they would have hid it, but the whales were too big to hide. But like I said, just like I ran the U.S. military, the Freemasons. I ran you in the what with Gojo and Pumice as well. Like, if you have any cards to throw down, you need to throw them down, because otherwise you're done. I don't see any kids that would even dare want to even touch Freemasonry. Like the truth is, the lies have not even began to manifest. Like you have a long way down, and your kids and your grandkids. I'm expecting retaliation for all I'm saying and all I'm doing against the Rothschilds, Olympic Masons, the military. Like, you can't, like, there's this thing called manhood, and I guess eventually at some point people feel compelled to like do something about it. And like I can they're gonna do something stupid, like have steal my wallet and say that Gabriel, my sister's kid, lost it, or they're gonna like have the banks contact me and say I can't have credit cards anymore or something. Or what they're gonna do is a big one is, like I said, like I'll go, like they'll wait until I want to fly somewhere, and then like I've already had this happen before, where they'll try to charge like $10,000 for a one-way coach ticket. Like they can screw you that way. I mentioned in my past presentation that I predict that within 3 years or less, I don't even think we're going to be here in 3 years. I would say within like 2 years, a year and a half, that you're not even going to see commercial airfare anymore. That it's going to be completely like domineered by like communists. Like basically, like either you have a private jet or you go nowhere. And maybe like there's a few flights that go somewhere, it'll be very expensive. Russian Aeroflot, really cool. It's got the old hammer and sickle on it. Like that's what we need. It's something like Russian Aeroflot, an airline of the people, for the people, like straight like raw dog. Like in my opinion, that might be one of the solutions to fix the whole thing. And like the people that work for Aeroflot are pretty much already like military people already, so almost like take it to that level. Which in all reality, the airspace should be heavily controlled like that. They shouldn't have just all these little companies starting up and doing what they want to do. In my opinion, like I see major issues on the horizon with all these self-made millionaires now that everybody and their brother has a private plane, and like I said, you're going to see issues. I can almost guarantee you. And like I said, like you don't see the Freemason emblems anymore as much as you used to. You don't see them riding high anymore. I'm sure a lot of these people are on islands or they've gotten away. But anyhow, like I wonder. I just want to leave on this. I wonder how many Barron babies or Trump babies actually got like thrown in the trash cans. Like pretty much that's what the rich elite people do. They'll literally throw the kids in the trash cans. And like I imagine at one point it was like the cool thing to like be associated with Trump. But now, like, I can almost guarantee you that it's like a cancerous plague. And like I said, nobody wants to even be near him, breathe the same air as him. I'm going to leave it on this. I'm sorry for giving 2 presentations almost 25, 30 minutes long here this week. I know like very few people have that much time to dedicate to, watching Archangel 15. But I'm sure the few people that do enjoy it. I'm sure my views are gamed. And even if not, this is like a nice like timeline for like future reference for myself, assuming they don't take my channel down. They've tried, like I said, like every time that they either delete my presentations or like they try to like hinder them from going up, there's some type of huge issue that goes on. But I believe, like I said, like what's going on right now is like serious real in California is really serious, and it's not being covered to the magnitude that it is. There's other natural disasters, other stuff going on. And I think we're just getting warmed up, to be honest with you. But I'm going to leave it at this. As always, thanks for stopping in the Archangel 15. Take care. God bless.